Hey, sixth graders, happy Monday. It's March 8th, last week of the trimester. All right. So let's as they say, get on our horse and let's you know, get our work in and stay on top of it so that you can enjoy the spoils of the spring break that is only 2 weeks away. So here's today. We got a little check-in quiz I want you to take today, and then we're going to talk about our fifth and final informational text structure. So I'll remind you that we've been going through four. So the first thing I want you to do before we get in anything is right there in today's work is review of text structure. So take that quiz. I promise you it won't kill you. It should take you about 10 minutes max. There's some reading. I want you some thinking. You can use your notes. It's not going to kill you. I just want to see where you're at. I remind you that our descriptions or our text structures that we've done, number one, we talked about description, right? That's kind of the easiest. That's the one you see the most common. It answers the question, what is something? Then we have sequential, which is our second structure. And this is a timeline or sequence of steps. So it answers these two questions. When did something happen and how did it change? Or what are the steps to blank? So if you do a manual on a recipe is sequential writing. A manual on how to put together your IKEA wardrobe, that's sequential. A timeline that tells me how World War II started from one event to the next, that's all sequential. Our third was cause and effect, right? And this is it answers the question, how did blank affect the world? So what's its impact? So if we talk about water bottles, plastic water bottles, how did this change how water gets to the world? That's a cause and effect. And then lastly, the one we went on Friday was compare and contrast. So again, basically the goal of this kind of writing is to ask the question or answer it, what is blank like or not like? What are masks like? What are books like or not like? Okay, so those are our four, and you can use that on the quiz if you want. So if you're watching this, then use that information to help you answer the questions. The different types of informational text structures, we've gone through these four. The last one is problem solution. And actually, I'm going to rewrite this to a plus because really you got to have both. You can't just talk about a problem. You should never talk about a problem unless you discuss what solutions are to it. There's no point. So here's what you should put in your notes today. Structure number 5, problem plus solution. The definition is information about one thing presented in a way that describes a problem with that thing and information that is or could be a solution to that problem. So it answers a more complicated question, what is wrong with blank and how do we solve it? What is wrong with plastic bottles and their effect on the environment, and what are some solutions? What is wrong with our addiction to technology, and how do we solve it? So you're not going to describe to me, this is not describing me what an iPad is. It's not describing me the history of the point we get to when we have touchscreen technology, right? You're not going to tell me like how this impacted the world necessarily. You're not going to just give me that. And you're not going to compare this with a regular calculator. That's a different style of writing. What you're going to do is you're going to say, this has caused a problem of attention spans, and we are working to solve it. Here's some stuff. Okay? So a little bit more complicated. Here's my example. So I'll go back to the wrestling example. And so if you follow along with me, in the early 1980s, professional wrestling was doing well, but there was just not enough popularity to make professional wrestling a big-time money-making business. Wrestlers had celebrity and good incomes, but they were not superstars yet. The answer to that problem, see, there's that language, comes in the name of Vince McMahon, president and CEO of the then World Wrestling Federation, WWF, now known as the WWE. Vince McMahon recognized that having great athletes was necessary to draw in fans to professional wrestling events, but the real excitement and entertainment came with the glamour, the glitz, and the outrageous personalities. Interviews with wrestlers promising to destroy and belittle their opponents in 2 weeks suddenly had fans looking forward to matches in the future, not just that very night. From there, the WWE became one of the biggest and most popular spectacles in all of entertainment and changed professional wrestling forever. So here's the thing, right? The problem was wrestling's not big enough. The solution was Vince McMahon and all of these gimmicks and like actors creating these crazy personalities. That's a solution. And therefore, I'm writing about the wrestling world as a problem if not popular enough. Here was the solution. See how that's a little different spin? It's a lot like cause and effect, slightly different. So a couple of examples, this problem solution topics are really all over the place, right? A lot of today's writing that you see is based on that. So we've got the COVID vaccines as a problem solution, right? I mean, totally. We got the pandemic, right? We have to solve the pandemic. So the vaccines are the solution to it. The science behind it is how have we solved that? There'll be a civil rights movement, right? You could write about John Lewis, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Bayard Rustin. All these people are really figures that we could write about. They are a solution to the inequities of our government's treatment of people, well, government and society's treatment of people of color. So they're a solution to the problem of racism. Mars exploration, right? Our planet, that's a weird problem. The problem is we don't know enough about our planet, right? We don't know enough about it to take care of it. And if we don't know enough about it, we could ignorantly and sort of blindly do a lot of damage that could make it we can make it so that we couldn't live here. So that's the thing about that is that's about like understanding our planet so we can take care of it. That's why we want to go to Mars, so we don't become Mars. Endangered animals and cloning. This one I just found this weekend, right? So this is a black-footed ferret, and there's like 500 in the wild total. Like, they're really endangered. So what they're doing is they're cloning them. And actually, it's a way of protecting their species. And so here we are, like we have endangered animals is the problem, and cloning of them is the solution that people have come up with. So this was a really interesting article I read. So your turn. Last one. This is our 5th paragraph we're going to be writing in 5 days. So that's good practice on the writing. And you guys are getting better at it. I really do believe that. So I want you to write a 5 to 7 sentence problem solution. Let me write this. Solution paragraph for one of the following. A, describe the mathematical process of multiplying 2-digit numbers by 2-digit numbers. As an example, 23 by 19. Do not just list the steps. That's a sequential structure. So this is an easy one because literally problem solution, isn't that math language? So if you want an easy paragraph to write, then describe how one solves the problem of 2-digit numbers by 2-digit numbers. If you memorize your times tables, 9 times 9, automatic, right? But when I start doing 23 times 19, I can't do that in my head. So describing that process is literally like a sequential, that's a problem solution paragraph. 2, all right, I want you to describe a class you have or have had in the past by describing a time when you were not doing well or were confused by the class, and then you changed something and succeeded. So this is an example of like, it wasn't going well. The problem was I was failing. I was dropping the ball. Then I decided to change something and it went better. That's problem solution, right? So here's your starter. You could use this if you want because English could be hard. English language arts is a class that does a lot of writing. Unfortunately, I don't find writing very enjoyable. There's the problem. This problem led me to blank. So you can steal that if you want. Now, 3, you could also choose your own example of a problem that had a solution. So if you check with me, I'll let you do number 3 if you don't like my 2 paragraph options. Okay, so here we go. Today, rest of the day. Priority number 1, finish today's paragraph. Finish Friday's paragraph, finish Thursday's paragraph, finish Tuesday's, Mondays, and then all other missing. So just start working your way backwards if you've got missings. That's the best way to do this because it's most fresh in your mind. All right, everyone, take care. Hope you're well, stay good, and reach out with any questions.